Hey, how's it going? This is James P. White from 95.7 Cruise FM, The Locker Room. Welcome to the Jedi Jimmy podcast. This is episode number 19. Wow, I'm so excited. It's the history of Obi-Wan Kenobi, with the Obi-Wan Kenobi series is coming up next week. I'm so excited about this. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a backstory of Obi-Wan. You may not know all his story, and I'm going to give it all to you right here and now. First of all, Obi-Wan Kenobi was actually born on the planet of Stujon in 57 BBY, so that's before the Battle of Yavin. If you don't know the Battle of Yavin, that is actually Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, when they blew up the first Death Star. So during that time, he was actually 57 years old. So when he was born, he was force sensitive. Therefore, he was found to be able to use the force. So he was inducted into the Jedi Order as a child. He was raised in the temple on Coruscant. But he was assigned the what's the word? He was assigned to be a Jedi Knight after the death of his master Qui-Gon Jinn, because he. Hold on a sec. Let me get back to. I've got ahead of myself. So he was assigned to Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn when he was old enough to be a Padawan. So at first they start at the temple until they're in their early teens usually. But he was Qui-Gon's Padawan. And so as that, he actually fashioned his first lightsaber similar to his master. Now, sorry about that. Yoda fell down. That's Baby Yoda, also Grogu. So a lot of people were very upset and confused during the movie Phantom Menace because they found out that Qui-Gon was his master. Because if you remember, during The Empire Strikes Back, when Luke was on Hoth and he was kind of freezing in the snow, Obi-Wan's Force Ghost came to him and said, "You need to go to Dagobah to find Yoda, the master who trained me." But we were all just told that Qui-Gon was his master. But remember, when you're at the temple at the beginning, especially going into your teens, the Grand Master, Yoda, he is a huge part of your beginning training. So he teaches you the different lightsaber styles. He teaches you all that kind of stuff and how to use the Force, how to focus yourself, all that kind of stuff. So he actually was Obi-Wan's first master. Now, later on, after he started working with Qui-Gon, they ended up on a mission. It was about 42 years before the Battle of Yavin. So again, he would have been in his teens. So 42 years, he was about 15. He ended up on the planet of Mandalore, where they were actually assigned to protect the head of Mandalore. Her name was Satine Kryze. She was the Duchess of Mandalore. But during that time, because they spent over a year there, at one point, Obi-Wan and Duchess did fall in love. So what ended up happening is they became so close that he almost left the Jedi Order. But Satine said, "You need to keep to the Jedi Code and stay as a Jedi, and she needs to be the ruler of Mandalore." And So he ended up leaving at the end of the mission when her protection was no longer needed. But 10 years later, during the Battle of Naboo, Qui-Gon Jinn was actually killed at the hands of Darth Maul. But when Obi-Wan actually defeated Darth Maul, he had become a Jedi Knight. He was inducted as a Jedi Knight by the Council, but his lightsaber was destroyed when Darth Maul actually kicked it into the reactor. So he had to build a new lightsaber, and there's a picture of it. Okay, so at that time, he actually was given the rank of Jedi Knight because he actually defeated the Sith Lord Darth Maul on Naboo, but nobody knew in the Jedi Council knew that the Sith were still around. They were killed a millennia ago, so they thought. But during this time, they met Anakin Skywalker, who had a huge midichlorian count, actually greater than that of Master Yoda. And he, with the persuasion of Obi-Wan, became Obi-Wan's apprentice. So now we go into 10 years later during it's episode 2, Attack of the Clones. A lot of the episode dealt with Anakin's conflicted feelings with Padme, who was the queen of Naboo, now is just a senator from there. And because of their relationship, actually, Anakin declined into the dark side because of the whole possession is a path to the dark side. See, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. Whereas Anakin had the fear of losing Padme, so then it sent him down the path. So during this episode, Obi-Wan Kenobi actually ended up chasing down Jango Fett, who was hired to be cloned to become part of the clone army, but he also was part of the deeper purpose, the start of the Clone Wars. Jango Fett was actually later killed by Mace Windu, and that was actually a cool part. So during that time, Obi-Wan and Anakin and Padme actually were captured, and during that time, Obi-Wan lost his lightsaber again. So he lost his lightsaber in episode 1. He lost his lightsaber in episode 2. So in episode 3, after Anakin and Obi-Wan were actually beaten by Count Dooku, but not killed, they were just both severely injured. During the Clone Wars, Obi-Wan had to build a new lightsaber, which was a whole lot different. It's the exact same lightsaber that he used in Episode 3 as well as in A New Hope. So during that time, during the Clone Wars, because he ended up becoming a master, because Anakin became a Jedi. So as soon as a Jedi Knight, as soon as a Padawan makes it through the trials, they become a Jedi Knight, and their teacher becomes a master. So he was actually not only a Jedi master, but he became a member of the Jedi Council, as well as a general of the Grand Army of the Republic. It was during the Clone Wars that he also found out that Darth Maul did not die when he fought Obi-Wan on Naboo, but he was able to reattach his legs. But later on in the Clone Wars series, Darth Maul fought to cause a revolution on the planet of Mandalore, where Satine Kryze was still the Duchess. And he captured her, luring Obi-Wan there, in which Obi-Wan had to witness the death of his girlfriend, the one person that he loved, at the hands of Darth Maul. It was a deep moment. And I think it was because of that when Obi-Wan realized that Anakin and Padme had a relationship, they had feelings for each other, he kind of ignored it because he knew how hard it felt losing Satine. So when the Clone Wars ended, Obi-Wan ended up killing General Grievous, who was the head of the Separatist army. Emperor Palpatine, with the help of his new apprentice, Anakin. And the reason why Anakin actually became his apprentice is because he was afraid of losing Padme. And Palpatine actually convinced him that he was able to help save her, but it was the fear of loss that led him to the dark side. Again, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. Now, at the end of episode 3, Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader, who used to be his apprentice, Anakin Skywalker, they fought, and Obi-Wan did beat him, but didn't kill him. He was burnt really bad on the planet of Mustafar, as well as Obi-Wan took his legs and arms with his lightsaber. One fell swoop. Now, after the fall of the Jedi, due to Order 66, in which Darth Vader and the clone troopers hunted down and killed all the Jedi, what ended up happening is during Order 66, in the temple, some Jedi or even temple guards were captured and tortured by Darth Vader as well as the Emperor until they became their Inquisitors. So the purpose of the Inquisitors is to hunt down and destroy the rest of the Jedi, anybody that lasted. Now, why I'm telling you about the Inquisitors, actually, by watching the trailer, there is a lot of dealing with the Inquisitors, because there's 3 of them. The Grand Inquisitor, I believe 7th sister and 5th brother are the 3 Inquisitors in the upcoming series. And so they are actually hunting Obi-Wan in that series. So with the fact that Obi-Wan, after the Order 66 and the fall of the Jedi, he moved to the planet of Tatooine to keep an eye on Anakin Skywalker's son, Luke Skywalker, who was left with Brew and Owen Lars, who was Anakin's stepbrother. So Luke was raised by those 2. Now, I'm not exactly sure how this series is going to go. I know it's only 6 episodes, but there's going to be a lot of stuff there with the relationship between Owen and Obi-Wan, as well as the Inquisitors chasing after Obi-Wan. But so the upcoming series actually takes place about 10 years after the fall of the Empire the Republic and the Jedi. So, but it's 9 years before A New Hope, because during A New Hope, Luke is about 19 years old. So, in A New Hope, Obi-Wan actually does meet Darth Vader yet again. They fight, and Obi-Wan is killed, but ends up in the Force. He's still part of the movies because he ends up being a Force ghost, talking to Luke and leading him on his journey. I'm so looking forward to this series. Hopefully some of the information that I gave you with this will help you understand the upcoming series and the backstory. And starting next Saturday, every episode, it's going to be me breaking down each episode. So on the 27th, episode 1 and 2 does come out on Disney Plus. I'm so excited. I've never been more excited about anything in my entire life. Now, I do need to shoot a huge thanks to a couple of my sponsors, one of which is the Dean Blundell Network on deanblundell.com. You can find my podcast and many others, one of which is Fire for Effect podcast. It's run by my buddy Army Chris, and I'm in his setup right now. I'm so excited to be back this way. Look forward to seeing you next week. What can go wrong? May the Force be with you.